Welcome to Legal Video Resource. I'm Jason Wheatholter. Today we're looking at what equipment you need to get started as a deposition videographer. What equipment do you need to start out with as a deposition videographer? The first thing that you need is a camera. And we're going to talk about exactly what specs you need to look for in a camera in future videos. But the thing that you need to keep in mind when you're looking for or picking a camera is that it needs to be flexible and it needs to be reliable. Those two things are the most important things for any camera that you're going to buy for legal video purposes. There are lots of different options, SD, HD, 4K, 8K, whether or not it has time code, whether or not it has time and date stamp. All those things are important, and time and date stamp is probably the one other feature that you really absolutely have to have. But in terms of all the other bells and whistles that a camera has on it, the two things that you really need to keep in mind are that it is reliable and that it is flexible. The second thing that you're going to need for a deposition video is a tripod. In the tripod, when you're looking for a tripod, you want to kind of look again for something that's both reliable and flexible. But the most important thing for you as a videographer is that it has a fluid head. And sometimes this is just termed video head, but most professional tripods out there, fluid head is what you're looking for. And what fluid head is it's in the head of the tripod itself. Typically tripods are broken into two pieces. The legs, the legs that you're used to seeing, the legs you extend out and that this then head sits on. And the head is what the camera mounts to. And the head allows you to tilt up and down, rotate left and right. Some heads even have ball levels that lets you kind of level the tripod head. But what you want in that head is that it to have fluid resistance. And what that allows is it allows you to very smoothly pan the camera up and down, or tilt the camera up and down, or pan the camera left and right. And it lets you do that with some resistance. Maybe you have a photo tripod around the house. Try loosening that head and just see what happens if a camera is on it. Hold on to the camera, because what's going to happen is there's no resistance. So as soon as you let go of that tension, as soon as you unlock the head, the camera's just going to fall. And it's just going to fall wherever that head lets it fall, whatever direction gravity is going to pull it. Whereas a fluid head, if you unlock it so that there's no longer a tight lock on exactly where the camera is, it might start to tilt one way or the other, but it's probably not just going to like fall right over or twist right over. Fluid head gives you a little bit of resistance. So when you unlock the tripod and you're moving that tripod or you're moving that camera, so let's say you're zooming in on a document that somebody's holding up in front of you, or maybe you're doing an evidentiary video and you're making a really long pan across the horizon. A fluid head kind of gives you a little bit of resistance. So it's not just you can just kind of flip it around. It gives you a little bit of resistance that you can adjust so that you can make a really smooth move back and forth or up and down. So that's what to look for in a tripod. But that's the other piece of equipment that you're absolutely going to need. Now, the next piece of equipment that you're going to need is an audio mixer or a recorder. They can be one and the same. Typically, mixers are built for mixing audio to a camera, and the camera is actually handling the audio recording. But you can have an audio mixer recorder combined. I have one of those right here. It's a Sound Devices Mix Pre 6 that we'll talk about in some video, I'm sure. But it is a mixer recorder built into one. And this audio mixer or recorder, or the two built into one that you get for your deposition video kit, it needs to have at least 4 separate channels of input. That's a minimum, 4 channels of input. So what does that mean? That means you can connect up to 4 microphones. If you have a 4-channel mixer, you can connect up to 4 microphones or 4 inputs to that mixer, and then mix those channels together to send them to the camera. Now I say a minimum of 4. You need to have at least 4. You can have 6, you can have 8, you can have 12. You can daisy chain different mixers together and get basically an unlimited number of channels. There are some limits, but you need one that has at least 4 channels. The next thing you need to go with the mixer are microphones. And again, you need at least 4 microphones. And the reason for this is that you're going to be miking up a number of different sources when you're shooting deposition video. First and foremost, you're miking up the witness or the deponent. They're the person that's going to be talking the entire time while the video is being recorded. The second person that you're miking up is the attorney that's asking questions. The third person that you're miking up is the attorney opposing the attorney asking questions. And then the fourth person that you're miking up is typically yourself, but you might also have an interpreter or maybe another attorney or somebody else that needs a microphone in the room. So that's why you need at least 4. And you need at least 4 for a couple of different reasons. One is it's the number of people you're miking up. 2 is if one of those microphones goes bad, you need to have a replacement available right away, because not everybody's going to stop the deposition just so you can go, call a buddy or go down the street and buy a microphone if you can even find one down the street from you. So you need to have an extra, at least 1 extra, probably 2 extra in your kit at all times. What kind of microphones? Well, we'll talk about this in more detail too, but there are really 2 types of microphones for deposition video. First are lavalier microphones. These are the microphones that you just see on television all the time. They clip onto somebody's shirt or onto the side of a suit jacket. These are really common. They work really well for deposition video, and we'll talk about why later on. Another microphone that's really popular for deposition video is a boundary microphone. And a boundary microphone is a microphone that is kind of like a conference microphone. You set it on the table, a bunch of people can talk around it, and it sounds pretty good. It's not nearly as good as a lavalier microphone, but it works in a pinch, and it works as a great backup. Or if maybe you have a mixer with 6 or 8 inputs, and say you've got a room full of attorneys, you can have a number of those people mic'd up individually with lav microphones, but then say there are another 5 or 6 attorneys that don't have lav microphones, or lavalier microphones. Well, you can set the boundary mic down by them. They're probably not going to be talking all that much, but if they do, you'll be able to capture it. The next thing that you need in your deposition kit is a backup recorder. And the backup recorder is a backup audio-video recorder. It's something that you connect to your camera, and it records a live backup of whatever it is you're recording in the camera. Before, when we were talking about the cameras, we were talking about flexibility and reliability. Well, even with a 100% reliable camera, sometimes whatever you're recording onto isn't 100% reliable. And in a deposition, you don't get to do it over again, ever. So you want to make sure that you're capturing a live backup of what's going into the camera. That way, you have this redundancy built into your kit. And the backup recorder should match your camera in terms of what specs it can handle. So if your camera records standard definition and high definition, get a backup recorder that can record standard definition and high definition. If your camera records standard definition, high definition, and 4K, probably a good idea to go ahead and get a backup recorder now that does standard def, high def, and 4K. We're moving more towards high def and 4K as the kind of defaults for cameras. Backup recorders kind of go in the same way. Standard def or high def and 4K are what most backup recorders can handle. Now, if you're fairly certain that you're going to be recording high definition for the foreseeable future, and you have a high definition camera that can also do 4K, but you're getting a backup recorder that just does high definition, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. Just make sure that your backup recorder, whatever format it's recording, matches what you're recording in the camera. So that way, the only thing you have to look out for is down the road, if you decide to switch and start recording 4K, well, your camera can record 4K, but now your backup recorder can't record 4K. And so you'll need to invest again in a new backup recorder that can also do 4K. So whatever backup recorder you get, just make sure that that backup recorder, that the format that it's recording matches whatever format you're recording in your camera. That way, if for some reason one of the SD cards fails, or you have a glitch in one of the videos and you need to edit in or insert in the footage from your backup recorder or replace the footage from the backup recorder on top of what was captured in the camera, everything matches. The next piece of equipment you're going to need for your deposition videography kit is a backdrop. Get one that is collapsible, that's a neutral color, and that's large enough for your uses. Typically there are two sizes, like 4x6 and 5x7. 5x7 is really, really useful. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more cumbersome to deal with, but it works really, really well. And a backdrop is important because it helps keep everything in your video consistent. And it also eliminates a lot of distractions that happen in the background. For example, in this video, I've got a couple of pieces of gear off onto the sides here, but then what's really behind me is just a plain gray backdrop. And that's to keep the distractions to a minimum, to keep you focused on me talking, not all the stuff going on behind me. I could have a television or a projector shooting some image on the back of the screen, or a bunch of cool lights or something like that. And that would be fine if that was the purpose of, and kind of the goal of what I wanted to have going on. But in deposition video, the goal for your video is to focus everybody's attention on the person talking. You can imagine this video a little bit like a deposition video in terms of its final look. Now, it's obviously very different because nobody's asking me questions. There's only one microphone as a source. I've got professional lighting and sound support in here. But this is kind of what a deposition video is going to look like. And the focus should be on the person speaking, the person communicating. And so a backdrop just helps you to eliminate distraction, eliminate everything else. And it also helps keep your videos consistent from one to the next. Now, the other thing you're going to need in your deposition video kit are all the accessories that connect all these things together. So you'll need cables to go from your microphones to your mixer, from your mixer to your camera, from your camera to your backup recorder. On top of that, you're going to need memory cards for your camera, maybe memory cards for your audio recorder, memory cards or hard drives for your backup recorder, you name it. You're going to need cases to carry everything in. You're going to need a power strip. You're going to need extension cables. Those are the things that you're going to need in your deposition kit. Keep in mind, I keep saying need. These are the necessary things. Camera, tripod, audio mixer, recorder, a backup recorder, some sort of backdrop, and then the accessories to connect all these things together. That's what you need in your kit. What you want and what you can have, and maybe what you even should have in some circumstances, can run the gamut. And there's a lot of stuff that you can add to your kit to make it better for you, but these are the things that you're going to need. Now, one more thing that you're going to need in order to get into the deposition video business, to be in deposition video, is you need some way to do post-production. You need a computer, you need some software, and you need some way to store or archive all this material that you're going to be shooting. Those are the three things that you're going to need for post-production to begin with. Computer, some software to encode, and something to archive onto. Now, these can take all different kinds of shapes and forms. We'll talk about these in a lot more detail. A computer could just be a laptop. It could be a desktop. The software could be something professional like Final Cut Pro or Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, or it could be something really simple like TMPG Inc.'s Video Mastering Works to just encode video. And then you need some way to archive it. Maybe it's multiple USB hard drives. Maybe it's a NAS or a server in your office. You need something to store it onto. Maybe it's cloud storage. Something to store it onto. But that's what else you're going to need for your kit. And then again, there's lots of other things that you can add to it. Synchronization software. Maybe you want to have multiple pieces of software to be able to do multiple different things or encode multiple projects at the same time. Maybe you want multiple computers to split up the processing between different computers. Maybe you want multiple NASs or servers or offsite cloud backups to be able to archive all your video. That's fine. That's all well and good. But you're going to at least need computer, software, and some way to archive on top of the camera, your tripod, your mixer, your backup recorder, your backdrop, and the accessories that go along with those. And like I said, there's a lot of other stuff that can go into your kit, but this is the stuff you absolutely need to get started. Thanks for joining me as we learned about what equipment you need to start as a deposition videographer. If you found this video helpful or interesting, I encourage you to click subscribe down below, because every time we post new content, you'll be the first to know about it. Also, if you have a question or a comment, maybe something you liked about the show, or maybe something you want to learn more about, let us know in the comments down below. We'll try to answer those there or answer them in a future video. Again, thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time on Legal Video Resource.